Hey everybody, Chris Chang here, and so I'm at my friend's place, and a few nights ago we were talking about when he was a kid growing up in Germany that he had these comic books that had Disney characters, Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck with a whole bunch of guns, and I'm over at his place and he's got all these comic books. And not all of them have Mickey and friends with guns, but we've flagged the parts of the comic books that do have them. So my friend is going to narrate and tell us what is going on in these stories that have Mickey and his friends with guns, so we can all understand what's going on. So here we go. Patrick, tell us what's going on. It looks like starting up in the upper left here.
Yeah. Now we've got Mickey coming out of a chest here, and he's all excited because he's saying that a policeman lost his revolver here. So he takes the revolver, and you can see him here walking through the town with a revolver. He's really thinking to himself that he needs to get like $1 million so that he can ransom a guy named Don Pedro. So
we got poor trigger finger discipline again. Look at that.
Yeah,
you can
totally
clearly
bad trigger
see
finger discipline.
Finger right there, like not only on the trigger, but also just way too far
exactly.
on the
He's got
trigger
long
too.
Fingers, man.
Yeah.
So what he decides to do is like, and this is a little bit unethical here, but in order to get the money to ransom his Don Pedro, I guess, he's writing a ransom note and he's going to go rob a bank here. So this is Mickey armed with a pistol, and he's going in, and he's robbing a bank. And right up here, basically Hände hoch means hands up. I'm a bank robber, and I'm capable of doing anything. And these guys are like all shocked and stuff. And he says, pack 1 million pesos in a sack, in large bills, quick.
Wow.
So this is Mickey as a bank robber with a real pistol here.
Yeah, and I grew up in America, and all the comics I've seen of Mickey. I mean, he's never the bad guy. He's never doing anything bad, and this is just really interesting. Here's a German, comic of Mickey robbing a bank, but they're in Mexico.
The story, yeah, they're in Mexico, but the story context here is he's desperate to get the money to help Don Pedro out, who's apparently being held captive by the bad guys, and needs to get money to ransom them.
Yeah,
so we don't want to say Mickey's ever really a bad guy. I think he's got his own moral judgment going on.
Yeah, like you said, moral and ethical kind of dilemma here. So and there's that last picture of Mickey.
Yep.
So he got the money.
He got the money, and he's backing out of there.
Okay. Anything else on that next page?
Let me see.
Yeah.
He's on the run.
Okay, so then, yeah, let's just close things out with what's happened. Yeah, so tell us what's happening up top here.
He's basically hoping that on the way back to the cave that he doesn't run into the police or the army. If everything goes well, I'll be at my destination before it gets dark.
Got it. And more poor trigger finger discipline. Yikes. Hey, Patrick, tell us what is going on in this scene here.
Hey, thanks, Chris. In this story, they're flashing back, and Scrooge McDuck is telling about his ancestors and how they got their wealth, in this case, going back to old times in Venice. And what you can see here, which is kind of cool, is that just like in present day, he has Donald guarding his wealth. And so he comes in basically and sees that Donald's asleep guarding the safe and yells at him right here. But you can see right here that Donald, as the guard, is sitting there on top of the safe with an old blunderbuss pistol. So that's his job. He's playing guard for his uncle.
Nice. So we've got another story here. Tell us what's happening here.
Yeah, Chris. So in this story, Donald is being held inside of a sack until they get him and his uncle Scrooge McDuck get ambushed by some bad guys. But as you can see, basically, Donald jumps out and he doesn't hesitate. He grabs those guns. Not only does he knock out the bad guys, but he turns them against his uncle, who I can only think of, if I read the story again, is the guy who probably put him in the sack.
Oh no. Yeah, and so we've got Donald here. It looks like, Donald and Scrooge are getting in some sort of argument. And then on the right side, I mean, Donald's pointing a gun at his uncle. So what's going on there?
That's him getting all mad right here. It's like he's been stuck in this sack and now he's out. So he's mad at his uncle. We can only guess that Scrooge is the guy who got him in that sack in the first place.
And so this bottom left photo here. What's going on? I mean, Donald's got the
No,
gun pointed.
he's not suicidal. He's just exercising really bad gun safety. Where I think he's using it as he's like thinking and scratching his chin. He's like,
gosh.
he's thinking through something. But definitely don't advise that type of safety.
Yeah, that's really bad in here. I'm going to zoom in here.
Man,
Look
he's
at that.
even got his finger on the trigger.
Yeah,
That's
finger on the
bad.
trigger. That is so bad news there. Yeah, there we go. It just came into focus. So, all sorts of bad things happening here. Clearly, Disney did not have a writer or a animator here or drawer who knows about guns. So,
No.
yikes. Okay, well, let's. Anything else to say about this particular comic?
No, except that Donald's kind of a bad dude.
Yeah. Geez, I'm looking also at those revolvers and wondering, this sort of looks just like a generic revolver, nothing like too unique or specific about it, huh?
It's old school Western,
Yeah, good stuff.
All right. So, yep, it is definitely gun smuggling right here. So, they're discussing about finding some marked crates and how they are not to be opened, basically, as they go through customs and cross borders.
Yikes. Well, hopefully the story ends with the bad guys getting caught.
They always do.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Okay, and here we got another one.
Yeah, so this one is kind of cool. I mean, I'm not going to get into the entire story here, but basically, somewhere along the way, Donald kind of screwed up with his Uncle Scrooge here, and he's on his Scrooge's bad side. So at the end of the story here, basically what we see is Scrooge kind of relaxing, leaning back in a deck chair, holding his musket or blunderbuss or whatever that is, and turning Donald into forced labor. So
Wow.
that's you gotta love a family like that needs guns to help each other out here. So yeah.
So we got a new one here. Tell us what is going on up the top here.
In this story, Donald jumps in his Uncle Scrooge McDuck's private plane. He flies out to this island. I think he's actually hunting for some kind of rare bird, but apparently there is like $5 million or so at play here. So he's all in hunting mode and thinking about I'm gonna get rich here. I'm gonna catch this rare bird.
Oh wow, okay.
Dead or alive, apparently, with a gun.
So in the middle, we've got.
And then all of a sudden, we see this lasso coming down, basically, and he's disarmed. And now we see these natives up here coming at him, what looks like machetes, and basically saying, take him down, grab him. And now he's running, basically, and just bumps into this guy. And then they're kind of like laughing at him, basically saying, so what do you say to that? And then basically cut, and you can see basically he just wandered into like a film production right here. So the intrepid hunter wandered onto a film set.
Yikes. And so let's just look back really quick at that, at his gun there. At first it sort of looked like, I was thinking, shotgun because of bird hunting, but it actually looks more like a rifle, even in that middle picture. And then, down below it looks like maybe a bolt action.
I would say it almost looks like a Thompson Center Contender or something like that. With it's got a bit of a hammer on the back.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It looks more of it like a hammer, less like a bolt.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's super interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, in here, what have we got going on?
It's not really a gun shop, but what it is, it looks super intimidating, and what it is, it's Scrooge McDuck's gold reserve. So this is where he keeps all his gold, and you can see that he's actually got like cannons mounted on the roof.
Yeah.
He has barbed wire. He's got a sign that says basically warning your life isn't in danger. Come here with a skull and crossbones. So,
Wow.
Don't mess with Scrooge. I think that's the meta message here.
Wow. What does the text say?
War ganz geknickt. Wahrscheinlich hat eine falsche Münze unter sein Gold entdeckt. Wer weiß. He was all upset. He probably found a fake coin among all of his gold. Who knows? So they're apparently coming to go visit him.
Okay.
And he was all upset about something, but they really don't know why. And they're speculating he could also be sick.
Got it. Well, that is one serious fortress, and
That's protect your gold.
This is like basically protecting it from an army, let alone. Right? It's not like the lone potential robber.
No, that's always the same bad guys who come after the gold.
Yeah. In this comic, this one's really, really interesting. So, Patrick, tell us what's going on starting at the top here.
This is not a good gun safety lesson on this page right here, but so Mickey's picking up what looks like to be a Tommy gun, and he's asking, what's this? Is this supposed to be a toy? and they start discussing about how realistically awesome this toy looks, and Goofy gets a hold of it and sprays Mickey with something that obviously is not a toy, that was actually real. So I think the lesson here is basically be careful. It's like, unless you really know that it's a toy or not, keep that trigger discipline and keep it pointed in the safe direction.
Yeah,
looks like Mickey gets away unscathed.
Yeah, that's more lucky. Look at this. He's pointing. Goofy's pointing the gun at Mickey, and Mickey, he's got his hand up. Clearly, he doesn't like this idea, and then he escapes narrowly.
As a matter of fact, you know what? I'll translate this right here. It says, "Enough, Goofy. You don't play with guns. It doesn't matter if they're real or not."
Oh, okay. So that's actually a pretty good
there's
gun safety lesson.
A lesson in there, and Goofy, being Goofy, doesn't care.
Yeah. Let's turn this a little bit just for the camera. Yep, here we go. Good. Okay, and then so coming up into the upper right corner here, Goofy still got his gun. Mickey looks pissed.
Oh yeah, no. He basically says, you almost turned, filled me full of holes like a sieve. You almost turned me into a sieve, basically, is what he's saying. And then he accosts this guy and basically says, are you telling me this is really a toy? And he's like, I'm totally speechless. It's like, we have, each article undergoes individual quality control. Mm-hmm. Very unbelievable, but goes on. He pulls out another one out, and sure enough, that one's a toy. So if I vaguely remember this story right, I think there are some real gun smugglers that are trying to infiltrate the toy business here.
Oh wow, geez, that's sort of a
it's kind of an adult theme,
Yeah,
for
a little bit darker theme for a Disney cartoon.
Absolutely.
Huh. So I hope you enjoyed reading through these German versions of Disney, comics with the Mickey Mouse and friends and their guns. I was just so entertained by listening to all these stories and looking. I read and watched Disney cartoons as a kid, and to see Mickey and friends in comic form definitely brought some really good memories of my childhood. And it's just interesting, right? In Germany, these are all in German, but in Germany they seem to be a lot more okay, I guess, with Mickey and his friends having guns. Yet here in America, I've never seen any sort of Disney comics where the good guys have guns. And so if you have seen any English versions of Disney comics where the good guys have guns, love to hear about it in the comments. Any URLs where we could either buy them or look at pictures, that would be really great. So hope you enjoy, and thanks for watching.